Hey there, everyone. Welcome to A Slice of Life with Kelly and John. And today our guest is Deanna Reina, who is an author, and she's going to share her pursuits of love or dating and with us. Is that the main thing? Is that what you've written about? Have you written
Yeah,
many books or just the one book?
this is my very first book. It's my debut.
Awesome. You're a great writer. We
Thank
read a little bit of some snippets of your book, and you paint a very good picture
you.
with words. Can you tell us about the book and what's the title and what's it about?
Sure. It's called, let me hold it up for you. It's called Mental, A Preposterous Pursuit of Love. And as you can see, the capital letters, I know it's reversed, but men is capitalized for a reason. It's about my crazy dating life, insanity with international men in the DMV, as well as my career ups and downs.
Okay, so you worked for the DMV?
No, no, no. Sorry, the DMV, as in the DC metro area. That's what we call it here.
Oh, okay. I'm like the Department of Motor Vehicles.
No, sorry.
She worked for the
She
Department of
works
Motor
there and she's
Vehicles.
dating all
Yeah.
the guys that come in to get their.
Yeah, wow, that sounds like another book.
There you go.
Oh my
Okay, it could be
goodness.
exciting, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so the DC metro area. So you're meeting all these men from all over the world, international
Yes,
men. Okay.
yes.
And what did you find unique about dating these men? Is it because they're from other countries or is it because some other reason we don't know
Yeah,
about?
I mean, I think that so just to give you a little bit about my background, I am half Colombian and Irish descent. So um, I don't know, I kind of have a little bit of that spice inside of me. So I think I'm just drawn to various types of men in different cultures. And it just so happens that the DC area has a very, very diverse background. So just by location, I was in the perfect area to meet different people. Now, did I expect to meet all these people? No. did I plan to meet all these people? No. But yeah, so basically, because I have that Latin background, I've just always been intrigued by other cultures and that dark hair, that sort of suave kind of persona, which can get you in trouble as well. But yeah, so
How did they get you in trouble? Was it because it's a different culture and you clashed, or what was it
I think
about it?
yes, part of that, but also they tend to be very charming, and if they're good looking, and I'm also a salsa dancer, so I used to go salsa dancing quite a bit, and I still do. And so when I would meet, let's say, Latin men, which typically would I would find in the salsa clubs, they just that charm, and then of course that chemistry as you're dancing kind of thing. And the same thing if I would go to, let's say, an international club, you would have again a mixture of Latin, Middle Eastern, so many different types of men. And so again, the combination, I think, of dancing, which is a passion that I love, and that chemistry, nighttime, that whole thing just kind of sets the perfect mood.
Right, right. Um, yeah, it's funny how you're attracted to certain. I grew up in an area of Ohio where there's a lot of Italian men and
Mhm.
Italian people, not just men. And I've talked
I'm
about it
I'm I'm
before.
I'm going to leave this
And
conversation. I'm just going to
John,
get up and walk away
well, you're
here.
an Italian, so you should stay around because I have nice things to say about them. Uh, but my stepfather was Italian, my sister married an Italian, and I married an Italian. And
Oh,
dated many of them because that was, the area in that area there were just a lot of Italians. And pizza was our big thing. Pizza was the
Mm,
big connection because there was such good pizza because we had all these, pizza parlors, pizzerias because of the Italian
absolutely.
culture. So I understand, being attracted to that culture. John, one of the reasons I love him is they're so passionate and loving and caring and that culture. That's how they're raised to just
Yes,
love, love, love. Um,
yes,
and so
definitely.
you can
And
get
with that
swept away
love,
with that.
yes, definitely you can get swept away. And then there's those kind of the flip side of the just the clash of that as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, when there's a different culture, um, and I'm not saying this about all Italian men, but some of them can be possessive. And
Hmm.
I know, my husband and I had big clashes, and we divorced when I was younger, and then we reconnected, years later, and he apologized. He's like, "I'm so sorry," and I'm like, "Yeah, you should be, but I still remember the good times. I remember all the wonderful things that I fell in love with him for. Uh,
Oh,
so
I can only imagine. I mean, at least you apologized. Wow, that's
he
more
did.
than I can say for a lot of
He's
them.
matured. He said, I've matured. And the one thing he said that I love to always bring up is you were right about everything. Because I was younger than he was. And I
Hmm.
wanted, I was very serious. I've always been kind of nerdy and serious and business oriented. And I really wanted us to build something together and, grow as a couple. And he was still really playful and immature and not taking things seriously. So,
I see.
anywho.
I
But
see.
that's part of the reason you fall for them because they're fun and they're
Hmm.
playful. Mm.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
That's
anyway,
charm. That's
You
charm.
know I'm in the room, right? You know I'm here. You know I can hear this.
well, I'm
Okay.
sure you're nothing like these men. I'm sure you're
Oh,
just
jeez.
very mature.
Wait a minute. Okay. Can we open this up to like 8 or 9 women who might want to get on here to talk about this?
Well, what do you think, John? Have you dated international women?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
But
what's interesting about that?
John does. There's a reason that John's still
Doesn't
alive.
kiss and tell.
He doesn't talk.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, what drove you to write this book? What made you think I'm going to write a book about this?
Okay. So I never aspired to be an author. It was my journey that led me to it. And back, let's see, I think it was 2012, I got laid off from my job and I was still single. I was about 36 years old and I was had a lot of time to spend thinking about things. And when you're a very, very analytical person like myself, it can be a dangerous place because you start doing all these, oh, I should have done this, I should have done this, and I
Mm.
should have done this better. And so you go into a spiral kind of downwards. And so I was not in a good headspace. I somehow something just made me stop and I needed to like pull myself out of it. And so I decided to commit to writing this book. And it's something that I had started very, very not committally when I was probably about 27 years old. Well, that was it. I was like, I am doing this. So that was, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. I was doing it. And so you know, because of that time, I it led me to take some classes and read some books and do a lot of self discovery. And so, yeah, I mean, I wanted to put that in the book because I wanted to not only entertain people with the stories, and trust me, I didn't, this is a completely true story. Although it reads like a fiction novel, you might think I made it up, but I also wanted it to have like lessons. I wanted it to have empowerment in it and, self discovery, self help. Because I think so many women and men, honestly, because I've had men read the book and very much enjoy it, can relate and can definitely take some nuggets of, you know, lessons and that they can take with them and put into their own lives.
One
Yeah.
of the things that I thought was interesting, only because I did the same, not for the same reasons, not at the same time of your life or my life, but later on, your first book, like my first book, was a memoir,
Hmm.
which usually you don't write your memoir until your eighth book.
Right.
It was somewhere down the line after you've gone through something, but you did experience a certain interesting things that
Hmm.
made you have to write about it, which when the title, sorry, when the genre needs to be picked, it is a memoir.
Hmm.
Even though you were young,
Yes.
it absolutely is. And so now I'd like to think that you're going to become the same lunatic that I did, where you write your memoir first, and then you continue writing other books.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's what I thought was interesting about Deanna
Do you think
and
you'll
her
do
book.
that? Do you have other stories in you?
I do. I actually do plan to write another book because, believe it or not, even though yes, this is a memoir, this book takes me up to age 40. Um, Trust me, I feel like I lived a lifetime up to that point. But I've had some other experiences since then, believe it or not, that have a whole nother book in them. So yes, I do. I do
That's
plan to.
exciting.
Okay,
Exciting.
so, I mean, to say what have you learned? But what can you pass along? What do you want to pass
Yeah.
along to other women at that age when it
Hmm.
happened to you, and
Right.
now that you've been able to look back on this and learn from?
Yes.
Good
Well,
question.
one of the things that I think is so important for women, no matter if you're in a relationship, if you're married, if you've had children or having children, any of those situations, especially today, I think that it's just so important to maintain that level of independence.
Mhm.
From financial perspective would be ideal, as well as having outlets outside of your spouse, husband, boyfriend, whatever you want to call it, and children. And I find that a lot of my friends that have got married, had children, et cetera, they get absorbed in their life, and I mean, it's busy, right? Like things happen,
Yeah.
right? And then but then a lot of them, let's say they get divorced, or and they don't have those outlets anymore. They've lost their friendships, they've
Hmm.
lost,
Yep.
they might be reliant on their partner's finances. And I just think it's so important to, again, no matter where you are, to remember that you are the only one who can take care of you.
Yeah. Well, and you want to maintain your own identity. And I
Hmm.
think even for your partner's sake, you become boring if you start building your life around his or hers or whoever.
Right.
I think for on both sides, you want to maintain your independence so that you still remain an interesting person and you
Correct.
bring something to the relationship and just instead of just taking on the other person's identity and you have nothing to offer of
Yes.
interest. So that's what I always found like I was married when I was younger and then I didn't remarry. And so
Hmm.
therefore I had, relationships and I felt like every relationship was like a new lifetime. I feel like I've
Hmm.
lived multiple lifetimes because it's a whole new world. If you're dating someone, especially, in their industry, you learn all about whatever they do, their career, whatever they're doing, and you learn about that industry. And then their family and friends. You're introduced to this whole world of and or culture if they're, from another country or something. So I always felt like I know it's probably awesome to find your high school sweetheart and marry them and be with them your whole life.
Yes.
That is probably awesome and that works for some people. But then I
Hmm.
always feel like I'm so glad I didn't, that I've had the other experiences that I've had and got to date, some really fantastic men. And I'm one of those people that when the relationship ends, whether it's on my part or their part,
Hmm.
I still am forgiving and loving and like my ex-husband when he apologized to me, I was like, I just remember the good. I don't even think of the bad. I love you, and I want you to be happy, whether it's, with someone else or whatever. It's not a selfish kind of relationship where you're wanting them to blossom and be their best while you're blossoming and being your best and you guys support each other. That's the kind of relationship that I always wanted. And I was fortunate enough to have a dad who adored me and doted on me. So I always was, I guess, looking for that too. I always thought that
Okay.
was a mandatory part of the
Yes.
relationship. So,
Now, I would just give them a house and move on. Uh,
uh, yeah, you've had how many? Well, no,
I
never mind.
we don't discuss that here
Never
on
mind.
the show. Uh,
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, sometimes we're not a good picker either. I know I've
Right.
been
uh,
a bad picker a couple times. I picked projects. Had a
Right.
couple men that were my projects.
Oh, yeah. I've had a
Yeah.
few of those.
Yeah, that never works out. That never works out. Fixer-uppers are not good in a relationship.
Interrupters, yeah.
No.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. I can think of one in particular where I thought, I'm going to fix this person. Exactly that.
Yep.
That's why we are meant to be. I'm the fixer.
Yep. Yeah, I think for me, I was always interested in psychology, and I took a lot of psychology classes in high school and college, and I was just always interested in what makes people work. And then when I took acting, went to acting school, it's the psychology of human nature. So I was always trying to dissect people and figure out what they do and why they do it. And so, yeah, I had a relationship for a couple of years where oh my God, I was his psychologist, but I learned so much myself because obviously if you're in a relationship, you're getting something out of it too. And
Right.
for me, I think it was just a learning experience, a fascination. Like, what makes this guy tick? How can I get him to get off the couch and do something?
Hmm.
In the end, I can't do that for someone else. And I learned you just can't. I tried
Hmm.
everything I could to motivate. I threatened. I left him. I came back. Everything I could do. And he was just like, I remember him saying, my grandfather always taught me if you can take the easiest way, go ahead and take the easy way. And I'm like, oh, you're missing out on life. But he
Right.
didn't have the same passion for life that I had. He just wanted to take the
Right.
easy way. He wanted an easy life. So anywho, that was
Yeah.
one big one that I always remember, and I always feel like, was it a waste of time or was it a time of enrichment in my own life where because I adored him and we had a lot of fun together too.
Right.
So anyway,
I guess
uh,
I try to think of things. Trust me, there are many times where you think like, "Oh my God, I just wasted whatever amount of
mhm,
time," or I screwed this up, I made this mistake, et cetera, et cetera. But then the flip side of, well, I believe everything happens for a reason, and I feel like there's a combination of fate, but also you have to free will. You can't just sit in your house and do nothing. Like
right,
you can't have a life of where you're just doing nothing and it's just going to happen to you. And so in any of those times that I think of, oh gosh, did I just waste away my life? Well, I could also say I if none of that had happened, it would not have led me to write a book, which I
right,
am super proud of
right,
and spent so much time on. And it it was therapeutic. It was,
right.
yeah. So
And I always think if because there's people you see in a relationship and you're like, gosh, they look so miserable. Like, why do they stay together? They're getting something out of it. You don't stay in a
mhm.
situation unless you're getting something out of it. I mean, unless you're in a highly abusive relationship and you're just too weak to leave. But usually, you're getting something out of it. So even if you stay, that's what I always think. I look back on, your self-awareness and assessing your life, and you're thinking, what did I get out of that one? What did I get out of that experience? And
Mhm.
sometimes it's just a matter of going to school. Is going to school a waste of time? What did you get out of it? You
Right.
learned something. You became deeper. You became better, whatever. You now know what you don't want or something.
Exactly.
So I think you always are getting something out of every experience and every
Definitely.
relationship. So, yeah, I
In
think
in
it's
your
fun.
book, what was the craziest incident that happened that you can relate to us?
Gosh. Okay. Well, I would say a lot of them, there's a lot of craziness in this book, but in terms of, I still can't believe it when I think about it now. And don't worry, I'm not giving away the book, but basically the opening of the book is I'm in Puerto Rico and I'm on a last minute trip with a friend of mine. Totally, like, we planned it maybe a couple weeks before. I mean, it was totally last minute. Supposed to stay in a different hotel. Um, I was convinced by, I think, hotels.com to try a different hotel because it was better rated and cheaper. So I switched while I was in Puerto Rico. Okay. Um, I'm sorry.
No, no.
Oh, I
Well,
thought I heard you say something. I'm sorry. And so I ended up going to San Juan and my friend left. So I was by myself and I fell asleep in the hotel. They had a big Latin salsa band in the lobby of the hotel and it was really loud. So even though I was exhausted from just the sun, whatever, the music totally woke me up. And I love Latin music. So, and I forced myself to go downstairs. It's awkward when you're by yourself. And went to the bar, ordered a daiquiri, just did a little people watching. There weren't too many people in the lobby area, which had some high top tables. But I ended up seeing this guy from the back, and I focused in and realized it was the guy that I had just gone out with a few weeks prior who had totally blown me off. And now he's in my hotel in Puerto Rico.
The same guy. You went
Same,
out on a date with him a couple weeks earlier.
a few dates. Yes.
Oh, and now he's here.
In
Did you talk to
Puerto
him?
Rico. Yes, I did. Um, yeah. And I don't want to give too much away, but basically, yes. So that's how
Oh,
that to me is insane. That to me,
yeah.
especially since it was just a last minute trip. I was supposed to stay in a different hotel. And the whole thing was just absolutely jaw dropping.
Wow. Yeah. What are the chances of
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
Ah. Oh, yeah. So we need to get the book and find out what happened. What happened with this guy? Ah,
so the book is a print book and an ebook, correct, on Amazon?
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
We'll put the link to the book in the description so people can find it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Really good. So
And
what are you
any
doing now? What else are you doing besides are you doing anything with the book? Are you going, well, obviously going on podcasts? Didn't you do an
yes.
appearance like a comedy
Actually,
show?
didn't you do some kind of reading or something earlier today?
I didn't do a reading. I actually did a book event earlier today in Ashburn. So we had an event where it was a bunch of independent authors, and it was a coffee shop. Very hot day. Thank God it wasn't too bad, and I didn't forget the um, to apply my to protect my skin, so the
Sunscreen.
sunblock. But yeah, no, it was great. It was a variety of authors there. We had just a constant crowd of people coming through,
Excellent.
and yeah, so that was interesting. Most recently, I also did a storytelling. So there's an event that was happening in this area called the Women's Storytelling Festival, and I got up and did a condensed version of chapter 2 of this book because we only had like 6 minutes to talk. So had to shrink it down. But yeah, that was a great experience
Mm.
because you get you out of your comfort zone and
Right.
be able to try to convey the story the way that you remember how it happened, and then convey that in terms of the emotion and the feeling in front of an audience. So it was great.
You know what I think would be funny? You just kind of put it in my mind. So you're telling, like, after a relationship's over, there should be a show where, okay, so the relationship's over, and now you have the woman come on and give her version of what happened. And I don't know, maybe
Mm-hmm.
this has been a show, and then the man come on and give his version of what happened and see if they collide in any way or if they're completely different planes of what happened in the relationship. Of course, or are they going to blame each other for the failure,
Yeah.
which happens in
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of divorces. So, yeah, I think that would be kind of funny to see.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think there would be a lot of not matching stories.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I literally just had one happen to me day before yesterday. A bomb dropped on me. So it was, I'll just
Can
tell
you
you quick.
share a little bit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is an ex-boyfriend of mine. And what happened was I was on WhatsApp, and you can add a status to WhatsApp. Basically, it's just like a 24-hour story, just like you can do in any other social media, Instagram, TikTok, etc. And so I happened to see his, and it was a picture of a little boy. And I felt like I've seen that little boy in other pictures, except for it was just the little boy. So it was like a closer, image of him on his face. And I was looking at the picture and I was like, gosh, that really looks like him. And then like I started like, you know, turning the wheels of analysis, and I just reached out to him and I just said, "Is this your son?" And he didn't get back to me right away. He said, "No, it's my grandson."
Hmm.
And I almost passed out because according to what I knew, he didn't have any children.
Oh.
And all I knew is that he had an ex girlfriend who claimed he was the father of her son. But that got cleared up, and it was controversial because the picture didn't look like him, all these things. Anyways, they talked about it, and she confessed to lying to him, I think probably being
Oh.
upset or revenge or whatever. So I thought maybe that little boy was his, I thought it was his nephew because I knew he had a nephew. To find out it was his grandson, and he's 43 years old.
Oh.
And I just felt like completely, he
Yeah.
claims he told me. I said, no, you didn't. I don't
Mm.
know how I would have not known that piece of information.
Right.
Well,
Right. Yeah, some men they lie. Some
Yeah,
women do too. I don't want to be male bashing because
right,
some women
right.
are do too.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's why relationships, I just feel like I wish we were more healthy. I wish there were, more maybe
well,
relationship
it's
classes or I don't know.
Oh my
I,
gosh.
it was somewhat of a shock to me, but because I come from a culture and a generation, the parents they stayed together. I don't know
Hmm.
if it was the religious vow that
Right,
did it, or hey, we got this kid, so we might as well, or they grew up at a time when this is what they did. You got married,
right.
you even if you I mean, I really believe there were times my mother wanted to put a knife in my father's heart. I'm sure. But they loved one another and stayed up until the day he passed away, you
Mhm.
know, and because that's what they did. When a couple of my an aunt and an uncle got divorced when I was a teenager. I thought that was odd, and again, that was probably in the 70s, some point. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but then I started seeing my older cousins, the ones that was stable, in my opinion, compared to the lifestyle that I was now leading in the music business and stuff like that. The stable cousins, they were getting divorced. And, why? It's not,
Right.
and it was, you know, where our parents were, well, I'm not happy and I haven't been happy for 3 or 4 months, but they made it work.
Mm-hmm.
My generation, or the generation I seem to have grown up with, once one of them wasn't happy for a handful of months, I'm out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. And it
Right.
probably had to do with the proliferation of attorneys too. And how simple and easy they made it. Where if and again, remember, I also come from a generation of women who worked.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the prior generation, the women didn't have enough money to pay for an attorney to get a divorce. Now
Right.
they worked and they were able to do that.
Right.
So I don't know, but it just became too. Oh, I'm not happy. I haven't been happy for a couple of months, and instead of busting my ass to work on the relationship, because I'll put it to you the best way I possibly can, or at least the way I read something, and then maybe we could move on from here. So one day I was reading a magazine, and I was going through the magazine, and normally they have a picture on a page that has some bearing on the title of the article and what the article's about. Now, for some reason, the picture didn't match with the title of whatever it was, but I decided to read the first couple of paragraphs, and this is what I learned. Now, remember, this is somewhere around the year 1999, 2000, 2001 ish. The article sort of, I'm going to paraphrase it. It says, you meet your best friend. This person is you. It is everything that you love to do, this person loves to do. Every joke that you tell, they find is funny. Everything that they say is funny, you think is hysterical. Every place that you want to go, they enjoy going there. The conversation is wonderful. This person becomes your best friend in life. And then one day you decide you want to go on the ultimate vacation together. The two of you are going to go someplace that is paradise. The both of you, whether it's the Antarctic or it's Maui or it's Tahiti or the Grand
It's a
Canyon,
place they both love. A
it's
place
the
they love.
place these two best friends want to go. And they buy the trip and they go to the airport and they're just about to go onto the gangway to go out to the plane. And right above the doorway, it says, this flight will crash and burn 50% of the time. Have a nice trip. And then it says, that's what happens with marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You find your best friend in the world. You think everything's going to be fantastic. You want to take the trip of a lifetime, meaning to spend your life with this person. And this is 20 something years ago, 25 years ago, the statistics were 50% of them would crash and burn. Now that statistic is higher. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know it's higher than 50%. And so that, and reading that, I said, that is absolutely right. It's exactly what you do with your best friend. You go on this plane ride and you don't know if it's
A
going
journey
to
in life.
land safely or it's going to go down in flames, which, when you think about a plane doing that, it is horrific. But how many times have we said that about relationships? It's a crash and burn situation, or it's going down in flames situation. So that is a sad part. That is the sad
I
part.
see it completely differently. So in 1974, up until then, women were not allowed to get their own credit.
Is
I
that
believe
okay?
most women stayed in relationships because they had to. They were, and even further back in the 50s, as a woman, as a girl, you were property of your father. That's why your father gives you away at the wedding. He
Right,
is
right.
gifting his daughter to this man who is supposed to cherish her and take care of her and love her. But back then, it was like
It's not a matter
she's
of
his
supposed
property.
to. It's not a matter of supposed to. It's because you want to. It's because
Right, but that's
you
not how it was.
promised to.
That's not how it was. I'm trying to you're gifting this, and men back then, she was his property, and not all women or not all men had that attitude, but that's my theory from what I've seen and read and heard from ancestors and family members. It looked to me like the woman had no choice, and she chose the man and she did the best, chose the best man she could choose, and usually it was for love, but a lot of times it was just for security. It was like get the best man you can get. And
Mhm.
so in 1974, when it changed, when women could get credit and women started working and having their own money, that's when divorces started going up. And so we're blaming
Interesting.
a decadent society and blaming all these other things when the fact is women didn't have a choice before then. And now that they have a choice, I look at a relationship as an experience, a vacation, a journey, whatever you want to call it. And when it's over, you pack up your bags and go home or go somewhere else or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be dirty and messy and mean and awful. And I
Mm.
think that's as a society, as women, our role in life has changed and we're not so dependent on
Right.
men. I think we should learn to be more respectful of the end of a relationship. Obviously it hurts. If one person wants the relationship and one doesn't, it hurts. The one
Mhm.
that still wants the relationship. But to be mature enough and big enough to, like, I don't want someone that doesn't want me. Like, if you don't want to be with me, I don't want you. I may have been very much in love with you, but to find out that maybe you don't want me anymore, okay. It's like a job. It's no difference. I don't want to be in a place where I'm not wanted. So I feel like if we develop that other way of thinking and our maturity, become more mature about relationships instead of being possessive and this is mine, he's mine, she's mine, I think we will have a happier, more compatible and for me, it's a lifetime that you should treasure. My time with my ex-husband, I treasure that time. We had so much fun and I have so many good memories and he was so happy to hear from me and hear that that's how I felt, that I really feel like it was healing for him to hear. No, I remember all the cute nicknames we had for each other and all the things we did and the places we went. Um, and that's what I remember. That's my little thing. And it was a messy breakup because he wasn't happy that I was leaving him. But, he had to do some growing up. So anyway, that's
Mm.
my take on relationships. I just feel like we are evolving and some people are not wanting to evolve. And hey, if you find your match in high school or you find your match at 25 or 35 or 55, whenever you find your match and you stay together, that is a gift. I know
Yep.
very few couples that find that where they grow together through their whole life. And
Mhm.
sometimes one grows this way and one grows that way, but they manage to stay together and have an interesting relationship. But that's life. I mean, that's what life is. And we're trying to create this cookie cutter lifestyle that everybody should live. And we're stifling our growth, I think, by doing that. Because as long as you don't hurt other people,
Mhm.
why not have be happy? Why not be happy in a relationship? Why stay with someone that makes you miserable? And that's my thought. My 2 cents, worth even less, or maybe worth, I guess, worth 3 cents now due to inflation. We'll put it that way.
Well, we no longer make pennies, so no more cents.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
you go.
That's true. So it's a nickel. It's a nickel. But anywho, yeah, relationships are very, very interesting, and you wonder why some people stay together and some people break up. You're like, I thought they were so happy. Are you ever surprised to hear a couple broke up and you're like, they were so cute together and they seem so happy and so compatible, and you never know. But life's short. We should be happy. That's what
It's
I.
true.
That's what
It's
I
true.
think.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. Okay. Where can we get the book? Tell us about it again.
Sure. Yes, you can get the book on Amazon, and it's again in paperback as well as ebook. And if you are a Kindle Unlimited, it's also on there as
Show it
well.
again. Can you show it?
Oh, yeah. Hold the
You have
book
it.
up again.
Absolutely. It's
It's
called
called Mental,
Mental
a preposterous pursuit of love.
Yes.
Okay. By
Yes.
Deanna Reina.
Yes.
Awesome. Look at her with the cell phone in her hand. Oh, we didn't even talk about the dating apps now. We didn't have
My
that
Oh
when I
God.
was
my
dating,
God.
but the
Oh my
dating
God.
apps, the
Oh,
swipe,
God.
that sounds like a nightmare. That just sounds
It,
like,
it, it, really, I truly believe that dating apps have, I think when I first got into them, which was prior to being able to say out loud that you were doing it, like I was like the early adopter. Nobody, it was embarrassing to be like, I'm online dating. Right now, everybody and their mother
right,
is
that's how
online
you date.
dating. Correct. And so I thought that was the answer to my prayers. Like I thought for sure, like I had it all planned out. I'm going to meet 4 guys. I was around age 26 and I'm going to get married and then, go off into the sunset. Right. I think that it's a double-edged sword because it has opened up and given us so much access to people we would never have access to. And so, in that way, it is a benefit. But also, in that way, it is a detriment because now, you start to have this whole, oh, maybe I'll meet somebody I like better, because it's just there's so much available. It almost becomes this like rotating menu and nobody can choose because they're fearful that why do I want to choose but the next one might be better. So it's just I think it has caused a lot of problems. I don't hear anybody ever praising the apps. I don't know if you all do or not, but I
No,
don't.
I've never
I
used them.
would never even. And again,
Yeah.
Kelly, just what she was saying, you'll relate to this. You'll understand this. Kelly and I, not together, but at the same time, we lived in L.A. Around
Mm-hmm.
the same time. Okay, this would be like somebody asking you if you wanted to get together on Saturday night or come to their party. You didn't want to commit because somebody else may come through with a better offer.
That's
Right.
true. That's true.
Oh, really? You're having a pool? Oh, wait, you're having this? Oh, wait, well, you're doing that. Oh, yeah, I'll go do that.
Yeah.
Or, oh, wait, who's going to be at your party? Oh, yeah, I'll come to that party. This was pure LA. You did not commit to something because there was probably going to be a better offer coming down the road somewhere. Anyway, so thank you so much for being on here, Deanna.
Thank
The
you very
and
much for
and
having me.
yeah, please. And when you write your next, are you writing your next book?
I haven't technically started it. I mean, the wheels are turning in my head, but technically, I have not put metaphorical pen to paper. So
Or
yes.
fingers to keyboard?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly.
All right, all
Well,
right.
I think the one you already wrote, from what I've read of it, is very fun and spicy. And I think people, because you haven't revealed a lot. In fact, John and I have probably revealed more about our dating lives. Um, but I think people would be really have a lot of fun with your book
Yes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
reading about the
But
escapades.
I'm sure to a degree people will relate, maybe to not each episode or
Right.
but there'll be something that will happen to have happened that you ran into.
Mhm.
They will have too, you
Yeah,
know.
and if not exactly the same circumstances, the
Right.
emotions connected to it.
Yep.
And one thing I like to say about the book is that to put it in context so that people have an idea, and I certainly did not and again, this was never an intention. I would never intended to write this book, but to give context, I would compare it to Sex in the City, but closed door, meets Eat, Pray, Love with not so much of the travel aspect in those two kind of genres mixed together. Yes, that's what my story is. So you have the entertaining side and you
There you
have the
go.
self
And
discovery.
and and
Yeah.
obviously
Yep.
women, your demographic probably, enjoyed both. And since women enjoyed both of those, Sex in the City and Eat, Love, Pray, what was the title of that one? Obviously,
Eat,
I
Pray,
didn't.
Love. Or
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't. It wasn't one of the ones I read or saw
wasn't your favorite
or
movie of all time?
no, it was not at
That's
all.
right. It was not on your list.
That's like, what was the other one that all women went under? The Bridges of Madison County. Oh
Mm.
my God, you got to see that. Guys didn't care. Under the Tuscan Sun or whatever it was. Guys didn't care. Okay, but women lost their minds over it. So yeah, I did not see that. But,
Oh, that's
okay.
funny.
Anyway, thank you very
Yeah.
much, and
Yeah,
and we
really
Thank
look
you.
forward
interesting.
to
Thanks,
seeing you again.
Deanna. Nice to talk with
Thank you
you.
so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye. All views expressed in this video belong to Kelly Nicholson, John D'Amore, and guests. These discussions do not represent the opinions of any entity whatsoever with which they have been affiliated now or will be in the future. The opinions expressed are solely theirs, and since they are critically thinking human beings, these views are subject to change, subject to revision, and subject to rethinking at any time. These conversations are not meant to be taken as advice and are only for the purpose of entertainment. All statements may be based on hearsay and not necessarily valid proof of any claims in this video. It is not our intention to teach or advise on any topic. Unless otherwise noted, all photos are public domain. Thanks for watching A Slice of Life with Kelly and John.